welcome to TouchPoints TV. I'm Debbie House, Editor-in-Chief of Retail TouchPoints, and I'm here today with Carin van Vuuren, who's the Chief Marketing Officer for Usablenet. Welcome to you, Carin.
Nice to be here,
Thanks
Debbie.
for joining us today
Thank
at
you.
Shop.org, Day 1, 2013 in Chicago. And we've been treated with some nice warm weather, surprisingly enough,
Yes,
for
it
Chicago
feels rather
this time
good,
of
right?
year. Yeah, it's nice. So we're going to talk about some mobile trends today. And so the first thing I want to kind of start with an overview of what's trending in mobile, and really specifically talk about the role that tablets are playing and where that's headed in mobile.
It's a great question because there's so much happening in mobile. In a way, we're seeing some consolidation of many trends. On the macro mobile side, things that are absolutely universal trends are the focus on mobile commerce for sure. Social is really big. Personalization as a way of engaging with consumers, very strong. But on the tablet side specifically, this is the year of tablet. I think in the holiday season, we're going to see tablet devices as the means of interacting much more visible than what it was last year. And also what I think is particularly notable is how much retailers have embraced tablets, not only as a shopping channel for their consumers, but also as a way of bringing technology into the store, arming their associates, using it as mobile point of sale. So a very diverse set of applications and trends around tablet this year.
So let's talk separately about how the tablets are being used in the store with store employees, and then talk a little bit about what features that consumers are looking for.
Right. Well, on the first side, in terms of how retailers are using tablets in the store, it's really interesting because all the research shows that shoppers come into the store expecting the store associate to know as much or more than they do, and they expect them to have access to the technology. So what we've seen with many leading retailers, I'll call out Marks & Spencer for one, is very quick to embrace tablet as a means of enabling the associate to have a richer experience with their employees. So you see store associates actually carrying these devices around, or having them close to the counter or in the area where there could be interaction, to either provide additional information or to help shoppers complete certain parts of the transaction that they're having some difficulty with. So you could say in minimum, it's almost like using the tablet like a mini kiosk inside of the store. We've seen retailers actually taking tablets and mounting them onto the walls as virtual kiosks or interactive screens. When it comes to shoppers or consumers, the expectation is actually a little bit different. What we see with consumers is consumers are not necessarily saying, it's a tablet, therefore it needs to be an XYZ kind of experience. Consumers are saying, I want to be able to engage with a brand in any channel, in any way I choose. But when they go onto their tablet, they want to have an experience that is somehow makes sense to that device. And what that means is not just the desktop side looking good on a tablet, it's a little richer, it's a little bit more of an engaging experience.
And a different experience than using their smartphone, for example.
Yes, the smartphone has a screen limitation, and we know that the use case of a smartphone, I'm in the moment, I'm standing somewhere, I have a quick thought, I want to do a little bit of research, I'm looking for something. Those are very quick interactions and oftentimes very transaction-based. But the case with tablet is a little bit different. We've seen some interesting research from Forrester that shows how people are using their tablets in different places. It used to be just on the couch as I'm watching TV, but now it's everywhere in the house. With a smaller tablet form factor, people are putting it in the bag and taking it shopping. And we know people are traveling with their iPads. So now you have a slightly different expectation, not just the desktop, but again, I'm looking at this very portable device. I want to navigate that device in such a way that it makes me feel like I'm getting content, I can transact, I have the commerce piece, but I also want a little bit of entertainment. And those three variables in a tablet experience is one of the reasons we believe that consumers actually respond to a unique experience on tablet rather than just the hierarchical navigation of a desktop site on this particular screen.
Okay, so responsive design has become really a key trend or component in 2012 and 2013. What role do you think responsive design is going to have in tablets moving forward?
Well, it's interesting. We have been in so many responsive design conversations with our clients, and I think every retailer really does need to think about it, because there is clearly the challenge of how do I manage all of these different channels, all of these experiences if I have limited resource. There are areas where responsive design makes a lot of sense. To have a uniform checkout on all of the different devices and channels makes sense. To be able to have a great visual experience and a consistency of presentation, those things make sense. But where it falls short, where it doesn't make sense, and where retailers really need to think twice, is the actual places on the site where transaction needs to occur. If you're waiting for a site to load, if you're waiting for an experience to actually unfold, the viewer might actually lose interest. So the speed that's required on a mobile device that is different from a desktop is a reason why responsive might not be the absolute universal solution for everything.
Okay, so they really need to think it through. It shouldn't just be, across the board.
No, it's not. Responsive's promise is almost like a one-size-fits-all, a once-and-done kind of solution. It's more than that, and retailers really need to go into the decision to go responsive with eyes wide open.
Are they able to do some testing? Can they do A/B testing with the responsive design? Is that a good way to go when they're thinking about it?
It's harder to do that if the premise of responsive is to actually redo fundamentally your entire website and then think about whether you're taking a mobile first or a tablet first. But retailers can experiment with responsive principles. You can make responsive landing pages. You can make a hybrid site where you have part responsive, part adaptive design. So there are not A/B testing, but there's test and learn scenarios in which retailers can figure out what will work for them, and more to the point, what will work for their consumers.
So what are your recommendations for the components of the user experience on tablets?
Well, really important to think about the user experience from the perspective of a touch-based device. So that means that when you're holding that tablet in your hand, whether it's the mini tablet or the larger size tablet, this is not a device where I'm clicking with a mouse. So how I interact with the screen in a very tactile manner matters. The ability to see in a tablet form, to see all of the experience in one view as opposed to having to navigate in a hierarchical drop-down menu view. The ability to actually look at a product and then see surrounding offers. So this product might also go well with something else, and to be able to scroll and have access to carousels so that the entire experience is multi-layered but very rich and concentrated in one view. Tablet users do not want to go to many screens. They want to try and see as much as they can from this one screen.
So can you share some examples of retailers that you've worked with who have implemented some of the strategies that you're talking about?
Yes, I think that there are 4 ways to think about tablets, and I think what I would do is answer the question by thinking about that spectrum. So clearly the 4 choices is you can optimize your desktop site so that it would present well on a tablet. And this route is followed by a number of our clients, specifically companies in financial services or non-retail spaces where that interaction or transaction is not so important, and it's much more of a content accessing experience. Zoom, New York Life are all good examples of brands that have chosen that path. The second thing you can do is you can actually develop a responsive site using your smartphone, the mobile experience as the starting point, and then having that experience adapted to the tablet screen. So it's optimized for the device and it reflects the device capabilities, and it isn't just like a mobile site larger, but it is a good way to actually extrapolate the experiences and the journeys from mobile onto the tablet device. And this particular route is an excellent approach if you're wanting to experiment with responsive design. You're wanting to just have a sense of how your shoppers are going to respond to that. We're currently working with clients Avenue 32 is a great example of a brand that's gone down this path. Having a tablet experience could be a complement or could grow their overall customer engagement. Great examples of brands who have created unique experiences include Marks & Spencer, ASOS, here in the US, Home Decorators. And what these experiences are proving is that when it was very well thought out in terms of the use cases that the tablet experience would support, you could see improvements in traffic, improvements in sale, and improvements in average order value. So those are great reasons to actually have a unique tablet experience. And then last but not least, there's also the route of going for an app on tablet. So imagine that you're wanting to create an experience dedicated to your most frequent users, or potentially something that you want to have as a more luxury experience or a more curated experience. An example of a brand that's done something like this is Aeropostale, where an application for tablet that's being used purely in the store to build outfits or to actually shop styles is a great example of a tablet-based experience that makes sense to have done as an app.
Thank you so much for those terrific descriptions and examples. I think that our viewers are going to learn a lot about how to move forward with tablets. So I appreciate your time today, Carin.
Thank you, Debbie.
And thanks all of you for joining us on TouchPoints TV. Have a great day.